I am driving down the street. And Hebrew is driving down the street, I am. You know what I mean? So with that being said, paid these 54 scholars, King James, a black man, paid these 54 scholars to translate the Hebrew and also the Greek into English. All right. Now the New Testament went through more of a process than the Old Testament. The New Testament now, I know General Hayes knows this better than me, but from what I learned from General Hayes in his classes, it was already written in Greek. So it went from Greek to English to Hebrew. No, wait, it went from Greek to Hebrew to English, back to Hebrew, back to English. No, wait a minute. From Greek, okay, we speak English today. So it went from Greek to English, from English to Hebrew, back to English, because we speak English. So they had to translate the Greek to English, because everybody speaks English. And then they had to translate that English into Hebrew. And then from Hebrew, bring it back to English. Now, don't quote me on that. General Hayes got it more than I can give you ever. He's a general in the school, been here way longer than me, but that's what I remember. From Greek to Hebrew to English, back to Hebrew. Wait, from Greek to English to Hebrew, back to English. It went through like a 5-step process because of the time and the language change. The time barrier and the language change. And in our time when we spoke, nobody was speaking English when we spoke Hebrew. Of course, 1,500 years later, we come into slavery, people are speaking English. Down there in where is King James and them from? Ireland, Scotland, England, they were speaking English, which is a Japhetic language. English comes from Japheth. It don't come from the white man. We taught the white man English, all right? English is a Japhetic language. We taught him English. English come from the Eskimos, the Hawaiians, the Filipinos, the Aborigines, all those are Japhet. All right? We taught, like I said, the white man English. We taught him English. Just so happened, he's a murderer. And give me the precept. When he speaks of a lie, he speaks about his own. All right, I'm gonna get this real quick. Let me just grab my phone, put my phone on mute. Just so y'all know in the class, all phones are on mute. Even my phone is going on mute. So won't nobody be calling me either, unless it's somebody over me in the school, all right? So with that being said, we taught English to the so what people like to say the European or the Caucasian, we call him the white man, because that's what he calls himself. All right. Also we call him the devil, like the Bible speaks of, because that's in the Bible. So now, English was the main language at that time because the oppressor, we also call him the oppressor. Right. The oppressor is a murderer, and he robs and pillages, steal, kill, and destroy. We know that scripture too. Give me the scripture that Yediah is pulling. When our adversary, when the oppressor, when he speaks aloud.
This is the book of John, chapter 8, and verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil. Ye are what? Of your father the devil.
Ye are of your father the devil. Go ahead. Now, at this time, this is what's so good about Maccabees, man. When you read about the 7 sisters and the sister and her 7 sons, how they stood so strongly, you know what I mean? And like a man, even a young man, they was amazed at. Right. Young man put out his hands and his tongue and got murdered by the oppressor. But the way he stood up made the oppressor look weak. And that's why he got angry. So with that being said, when we stand strongly, of course our oppressor can't handle it. Now, when we become weak, which is what the scripture is talking about, when we become weak, when we the opposite of being having strength, when we become weak, meaning emotionally, spiritually, the main point, spiritually, because that's what leads to your emotions and all that. When you become to get spiritually weak. Now we want to make deals and try to fix, everything up with the oppressor. Right. When at certain times that's not necessary. Wisdom is always applied, patience, discipline, diligence. We always apply that here in Isupk. We're a non-violent organization. We don't shoot, kill anybody.
Right.
So sometimes you can make a business deal with a heathen, and it can go right. You don't got to kill them. You don't got to shoot them.
Right.
None of that stuff. Sometimes you can't make a business deal.
Right.
That don't mean shoot them. That don't mean kill them. That just means this ain't a man I can do business with. This deal went sour, so be it. We a nonviolent organization. Now, we stand on the laws of God, which means don't be a murderer. But we also stand on the law of God that says self-defense. Right. We firmly believe in self-defense. Now, so with that being said, at this time, speaking of being weak, our leaders, as always, became weak under the Romans, under the oppressor, and whatever nationality they be, under the oppressor. Of course, not a Hebrew Israelite, because we don't oppress our people. These cats was oppressing us, and they was Israelites, because they was teamed up with the oppressor. So they trying to please him, trying to make deals with him. And Christ is cutting them, saying, you are of your father. You just like these men. That's what he's saying. And who was these men that was leading us? They was the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees, right? Our leaders. Who was the men that they were, who were there, who Christ is calling their fathers? Is the Romans, because that's what they answer to. They answer to the Romans. Christ is saying, you just like the Romans. Read on.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
And the what?
And the lust of your father ye will do.
And the what?
And the lust of your father ye will do.
The lust of your father ye will do. Meaning you ain't, let me explain this to you. You ain't just doing this because you think this is a wise decision. A man is supposed to have wisdom. He's supposed to have discipline. He's supposed to have some integrity. You ain't doing this for integrity's sake. You doing this because you a lust-filled bastard, and you want to rule over the nation of Israel. Which is why they told Christ. Which is why they told forget who they told, but they said if we leave him thus alone, everyone should believe on him.
Right.
Because they lust-filled, man. How the hell are you worried about the kingdom of heaven? Talking about if we leave this man alone, everybody gonna believe him. He healing people, man. Right. I forget who witnessed the goddamn healing, which made them want to attack Christ, and he disappeared in the midst of them. I forget what scripture that is. I'm pretty sure y'all know. I'm forgetting exactly where it's at. Salagi, for the sake of the class, there's so much. But that's what happened. They wanted to attack Christ on many occasions. Wanted to attack Christ, man, for the great works he did. So he's telling them, you just like the Romans. And that lust-filled bastard that the Roman is, you just like him. You gonna do his lust, matter of fact. You ain't just like him, you his peon. You his errand boy. You gonna do his lust. You ain't gonna do your own lust, you gonna do his lust.
Right.
Read.
He was a murderer from the beginning. He was a what? He was a murderer from the beginning.
Give it to me once again. Zilaki, one more.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a murderer. Damn. The cat was a murderer from the beginning.
Right.
We on the online classes or we on the Philly page? We on the Philly page. Most High in Christ, my brother. Read it again for me, real quick.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a murderer. The men who you just like, the men that's really your father, because that's who you obey. That's who brings you up like a daddy, the oppressor. The oppressor is your daddy, teaching you every damn thing. You obeying him, running his errands, like a son would do for a father. Father would raise him up. Father would teach him. He would run the father's errands. It would be no problem. That's the way, how we say, you don't want no problems. That's how they was. They let the oppressor tutor them up. Tell them what to do. Run their errands. They don't want no problems with the oppressor. Not saying you should go out and shoot somebody or any of that craziness. But damn, have some integrity. You can say no. No, they tell that to women today. Just say no. Don't they say that to us?
Right.
Just say no to drugs. They
Right.
tell women, just say no. You don't gotta have sex with a man. They tell women, your own, which is true biblically, your own husband cannot take advantage of you sexually. But a woman can't take advantage of a man sexually either. You have the right to just say no. But now, according to the Bible, we don't have the right. Neither the woman nor the man.
Right.
The woman should not have to be taken advantage of because the woman should give her man some vagina. The man shouldn't be stingy with his bride. Give the woman some vagina, some due benevolence, some nourishment. And we all know the scriptures on that, right? So now back to the point. What Christ is saying to them is, you do their lust, they raise you up. You don't want no problems with them. You don't say no to them. You tell us, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. But to them, you say, oh, kind out of one kind. Yes, everything's fine.
Right.
Sir, yes, sir, to the oppressor. Read on.
Come. And abode not in the truth.
And you ain't staying in the truth. What's the truth? Anybody want to take a shot at it? Go ahead, Abada, y'all.
Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments.
Keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. Here's the thing. The oppressor did not stay in the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. How do you know? Give me one reason you know that he didn't stay keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. The most obvious reason. Go ahead.
Like, he didn't even want it. He sold it away.
That's true. He did sell it. But give me, okay, if you didn't know he sold his birthright, give me the most obvious, meaning how they say observe and all that, like meaning to see. Meaning, give me the obvious reason that anyone would know that he is the devil according to the Bible. That he did not keep God's laws. He didn't stay in the truth. He didn't keep God's laws. He didn't stay in the covenant of God. His grandfather Abraham, the white man. Our grandfather is Abraham. The Arab's grandfather. There's a lot of people whose grandfather is Abraham. But the oppressor's grandfather is Abraham.
Right.
You can't tell today now, can you? Not at all.
Right.
They say that about us. They say that about us because we sell drugs, and it's actually, I hate to say it, it's actually right. Because how could you tell if we are not keeping God's laws? Now, there's many reasons why we doing that. But if somebody didn't know those reasons and they just looked at us, they would say, how would they belong to Abraham? Now, today, let's look at the oppressor. How the hell does he belong to Abraham? Anybody want to take a good shot at it? How do you know he don't keep the commandments of God? And I'm talking about, it's a list full. I just asked him for one thing. Just give me one thing. Anything. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and not keeping the law, like the wickedness and how he acts, he lies, he kills, he murders, eats swine. I mean, he don't even.
Yeah, you was about to go down the list. like that's my point. You give me one. You give me one damn thing, and then it shows this cat can't be from Abraham. How could he? Because he don't keep God's laws. Right. And what's being said is, listen, y'all do the lust of your father. Hold on, I want to skip ahead. I was about to go into it. You do your lust of this man. Your father who?
The devil.
The devil that the Bible speaks of. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
Read on.
Come. Because there is no truth in him.
So wait a minute. What happened to the abode not in the truth? Give me that. That's what I want.
Come.
Go ahead.
And abode not in the truth.
Go ahead.
Because there is no truth in him.
Because there is no truth in him. Your father, the devil, the oppressor, and ain't no truth in him. How do you know? Swine, homosexuality, he's a murderer, he lies on God. I mean, I'm damn, now I'm running down the list, right? Now I'm going down the goddamn list. I'm just having one thing.
Right.
You can prove